Well, Deb Murphy filed this report for Sierra Wave Media a week after the November 22nd meeting between the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power and Owens Valley business lease holders. Feedback ranges from, well, hopeful skepticism to skeptical hopefulness, and improvement over the frustrations expressed at previous public meetings. Deb Murphy continues that the crux of the frustration is the one-time transfer policy, part of the now resolved ranch leases, allowing existing leaseholders to sell their businesses and transfer the department lease once. Now, those new business owners / leaseholders would face an open competitive bid on the land, a precarious situation for any businessman. The existing policy, leases transferring to new business owners, has been in place for the past 80 years. Now, one takeaway from the last week's meeting is the possibility of the department selling its currently leased land. Now, in a phone interview with Deb Murphy immediately following that November 22nd meeting, Los Angeles Department of Water and Power Aqueduct Manager Jim Yanada stressed this was just the start of the conversation. He said, "We're partners in the Owens Valley. Part of our mission is to support the business environment." Yanada also stressed there would be more meetings to hear concerns of leaseholders. "We're evaluating a number of leases. We need to make sure we move forward," Yanada said. But he also stressed any policy had to be in compliance with the Los Angeles City Charter as well as the Charles Brown Act, also business owner concerns. Now, the LADWP's reason for the current round of discussions is compliance between the charter requiring open competitive bids and the act passed to protect Owens Valley business community, where more than half of the land is owned by LADWP. That Charles Brown Act allows lease transfers if it is in the public interest. Now, the perpetually glass half full Jim Tatum, the Bishop's city administrator, is encouraged with the possibility of current and future leaseholders' abilities to buy land under those businesses. Now, a possible scenario, according to Jim Tatum, would allow current lessees to pay the minimum appraised value on the land, no open competitive bids. Now, that possibility would also be extended to future business owners with LADWP leases 2 of the previous 3 years. Now, if the LADWP's legal staff can get a handle on that process and appraisals, and they are consistent with land values in the Owens Valley, the issue of business owners or potential buyers recouping their investment would be resolved. Now, with the number of Bishop area businesses conducted on department land, Tatum is committed to keeping the process moving forward toward a good resolution. Now, said Inyo County Supervisor Jeff Griffiths in response to the meeting, he said land sales on reasonable terms would put Owens Valley in charge of its own destiny. Griffiths is also sticking with the interpretation of the Brown Act exempts LADWP from the charter's competitive bid policy, leaving the question of why these charges are taking place now. Griffiths said there is some hope. Now, Mike Allen, the owner of Allen Outdoors, leans more toward the skeptically hopeful end of the spectrum. For now, he's going to sit tight and wait. Now, on the battle between the city charter and the Charles Brown Act, Allen feels the act trumps the charter. My understanding is the charter is a living document. It can be changed, he said. Now, Allen checked out the technicality of getting a loan on LADWP land under existing business improvements. How do you get the value of land with nothing on it, he asked, when there are actually business improvements wholly owned by the lessee sitting there. Now, following the explosion of the real estate bubble in 2008, loans on bare land and businesses are harder to get, Allen said, admitting the Owens Valley presents a unique situation. We thank Deb Murphy for that report. And Ron Napoles, representing the Worley family, issued a press release stating in part, in compliance with a temporary protection order issued by the Bishop Tribal Council on November 22nd, which Sierra Wave Media reported on against 5 members of the Worley family. We have removed our livestock fence and property from land assignments Block 3, Lot 6 and 7 on North Paha Lane. The TPO also prohibits, the press release notes, from entering the lots and subjects us to arrest by any local law enforcement and prosecution on federal charges. Now, the press release from Napoli states entering the land and compiling additional citations and or fines and being arrested would do nothing to advance our purpose. Our removal of property is a necessary step in the continuing of our legal fight. Certainly, we hope the council would respect our rights, but that did not happen. So now we are back in court on December 20th. We believe the temporary protection order to be invalid and will seek a legal recourse. Our advice and our lawyer, we decided, on the advice of our lawyer, we decided to avoid other legal charges and diverting resources and taking focus off the real issue. Now, that letter also states, we have proven our right to the land in court. Now the Tribal Council is trying to relitigate the case outside of court and through the media. Absent any legal standing, the Tribal Council is attempting to claim sole authority over all legal decisions and reservation land in contradiction to our long-standing customs and law. And that full press release is posted on SierraWave.net, and you can also check out the Facebook page, SaveNorthPaha.com. Well, a press release notes that with newly developed parking added by the town of Mammoth Lakes, the Mammoth Lakes Police Department like to inform citizens there's updates in regards to the improvements and the corresponding enforcement. Now, in order to improve parking availability and efficient traffic flow, there are several additional parking areas designed to serve the general public around the village at Mammoth, as well as the Westin Montrachet Resort. Now, the regulations, the press release notes, are to accommodate the particular needs and uses of each area. Mammoth Lakes Police Department will be enforcing the time restrictions, and vehicles found parked in violation are subject to a parking violation. In some cases, vehicles may be towed at the owner's expense. We urge you to check out our website, SierraWave.net, for that full press release and the parking restrictions at the village at Mammoth. Well, it's still a great place to go, but again, you've got to make sure you park in the right area. Also, Deb Murphy filed this story noting that both the Inyo County Board of Supervisors and the Bishop City Council intend to use precinct voting results to help guide future zoning or ordinances for both medical and commercial marijuana operations. A voter breakdown by area provided by the Inyo County Register of Voters indicates pot is acceptable nearly countywide. Now, the biggest winner of the 3 advisory measures on the November 8th ballot was the tax proposal, 5% on commercial operations, both growers and dispensaries. Also, Measure I passed 60 to 40% countywide. The voters in Early Pond were the only group that voted against everything cannabis, which included the tax, which only failed by 1 vote. Now, in general, medical and marijuana operations did better than their commercial counterparts. Now, starting at the north end of Inyo County, medical and commercial operations were approved. Laws broke the voting trend, voting down both Measure G and H. Now, the yes votes carried through Bishop city limits and into the McLaren Manor area and reservation precincts, but fell short in West Bishop by a significant margin. Wilkerson was okay with medical, but by only 2 votes. Commercial went down by 22 votes, and while the 2 tracks north of Big Pine voted yes on both G and H by less than 20 votes, Measure H lost by 11 votes in Big Pine proper. Big Pine was the last bastion of hesitation over commercial marijuana. Measure H passed by significant margins from Independence to the Shoshone-Tacoma precincts. The percentages were tight in Olancha, as well as the widest in Shoshone-Tacoma area, with both measures passing 4-1. Deb Murphy notes that the Inyo County Board of Supervisors will turn Measure I into an official ordinance at its Tuesday meeting, and that is scheduled for an 11 a.m. time certain agenda item. We'll be back with more news.